Hello everybody, welcome back to American Textbook Reading. My name is Brian Stuart and let's talk about the weather. That is the subject for today's lesson in Science Book 4, Lesson 9, Changes in Weather. And weather is a very common topic to talk about among people. In this unit, or in this lesson, you will discover dangerous types of weather and also different types of clouds. Okay, so let's get started. Our first word in the vocabulary section is blizzard. Blizzard. Okay, that's a little hard to pronounce maybe. Blizzard. B and L together. Blizzard. A blizzard is a storm with lots of snow and wind. You don't want to be in a blizzard. It's like the snow is flying at you directly. It's not just falling from the sky, it's coming at you directly from the wind. So a blizzard is a very strong storm where a lot of snow falls. So be careful. We have to be careful in a blizzard. A thunderstorm. A thunderstorm is very exciting, right? But be careful. Don't be outside in high places or next to large bodies of water or holding anything like a golf club, okay? Because a thunderstorm is a storm with lots of lightning. What is lightning? Well, you can see in the picture lightning here and here. Lightning is the really strong electrical charge that comes from the sky, and sometimes it hits the ground. And when you see lightning, you should count. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. Then you hear, right? And you hear a very loud noise, and that is thunder. And you can tell how far a storm is by counting. If you see the lightning and then the thunder's right away, you know the storm is right on top of you. But if you count 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, and then a few more, and then you hear the sound of thunder, you know the storm is far away. So interesting. Next time you see lightning, count. And then when you hear the thunder, you think, oh, it's far away. Okay. Tornado. Now, a tornado is an interesting storm. It's very dangerous, of course. We have to be careful about tornadoes. A tornado is a storm where spinning wind, spinning means to turn around in a circle. And in this case, a tornado is spinning very fast and it comes down from a cloud. So the tornado starts in the sky, in the cloud, and it's not just wind that comes down like this. No, it's wind that's spinning really quickly, and if it has enough force, it will make a funnel and come down to the ground. We have a video. Let's take a look at it. Here is a video of the tornado. You can see the grass is kind of moving back and forth because it's windy. And you can see the tornado. The tornado seems to be far away, but you can see it slowly turning. And this tornado is kind of far away, so it's a little difficult to see. But sometimes you can see like just the top part of the tornado, you can see it beginning to form. And it's like a little bowl, and it starts to grow longer and longer until we call it the funnel, grows until it touches the ground. And when it touches the ground, that's a lot of force there, and it's blowing things around. It's so strong, it can blow cars around. It can blow cows around. It blew Dorothy's house all the way to the land of Oz in the book, The Wizard of Oz. Check it out. It's a very good story. It's also a good movie. But anyway, tornado is a very strong wind, and we have to be careful about tornadoes. Okay. Next we have hurricane. Now hurricanes, what's worse, a tornado or a hurricane? Well, a tornado only lasts for a short time, but it can cause a lot of damage in its small path. A tornado has a small path. If you're like 1 kilometer or 2 kilometers to the side, either way, and the tornado goes between you, there's no problem. But a hurricane is huge. And a hurricane lasts for a long time, like many days. When it hits land, of course, it loses its power. But a hurricane can last for days. So a hurricane is worse than a tornado because it affects a larger area and it lasts for a much longer time. So a hurricane is a very large storm that has fast winds and lots of rain. But the fast winds are what we have to be careful of. And we've seen in the news about hurricanes, especially in the past, that have really damaged big cities. Like there's a famous hurricane, Hurricane Katrina, which really damaged New Orleans and areas around there. There's another difference, though, between a hurricane and a tornado. Hurricanes happen over water, over the ocean or a sea. Tornadoes happen over land. Okay? So tornadoes will happen in Kansas, Colorado, areas where there isn't a lot of water, but it's just very flat land. And there's a place, I think it's in Oklahoma, it's called Tornado Alley, where tornadoes, every year, there's a very good chance for a tornado to come through this area. It's called Tornado Alley. But there's no water nearby. But off the coast, right, hurricanes form over the ocean, and then they move into land, and then they cause a lot of damage on the coastal cities. You don't have to worry about a hurricane if you're in Kansas or Colorado in the middle of the country of America, because hurricanes, you know, by the time they get there, they lose all their power. So they get their power over water and they move on to land. So a couple of differences between hurricanes and tornadoes. A flood. Now, a flood is what happens. Hurricanes cause flood because there's a lot of rain coming down and there's a lot of wind, and sometimes it pushes the seawater into a low area. And of course, it's raining a lot, so it dumps a lot of water onto the area as well. So a flood, of course, is a large amount of water covering an area that is usually dry. And we can see this, of course, in many cities, unfortunately, around the world. Bangladesh has a very serious flooding problem. They get a lot of hurricanes. I believe they call them cyclones over there. And because Bangladesh is very low country, there's not a lot of hills or mountains in Bangladesh. It's very low near the sea level. So it pushes the seawater into the land, and also, again, it dumps a lot of rain. And so a lot of areas in Bangladesh are affected by flooding almost every year. And of course, many other regions of the earth as well are affected by hurricanes and flooding. It's a disaster. Okay. Next, we have hibernate. Hibernate. Do you hibernate? Sometimes I'm sure you wish you could hibernate. That just means to sleep for a very long time. Actually, it's to sleep all winter. For some animals to spend all winter sleeping. Of course, when we talk about hibernate, and we're talking about animals, animals only hibernate in winter. They don't hibernate in spring, summer, or fall, only in the winter. Why? Because there's not a lot of food in the winter. Consider the bear in his cave. Bears are famous for hibernating. They go into a cave or somewhere underground and they sleep for several months. Why do they do that? Because the land is frozen. It's covered with snow. There's not much food for the bear to find. And it's also difficult for the bear, a large animal, to move around in the snow. It has to use up a lot of energy. It can't find enough food to replace that energy. So it just says, forget it, I'm going to sleep. And it goes to sleep during the winter months. And then in the spring, it wakes up and it comes out. You do not want to be near a bear in the spring that just came out of hibernation. It's very hungry, okay? So the bear will come out when the snow is gone and it can find food easily. Okay. Destroy. Destroy means to damage something so that it cannot be used again. Now, you can damage something a little bit, right? If you hit something and put a dent in, for example, a car, you've damaged the car, but you didn't destroy it. Destroy is when there's so much damage that the thing, for example, the car, cannot be used anymore. It cannot be used again. It doesn't work. And that's, if a car hits a wall at a very high speed, the car will be broken. It is destroyed. Okay, so yeah, be careful. Don't damage things, obviously, but destroy just means that to damage something so much that you can't use it again. So it's very severe damage. Okay, those are our words for this lesson. Let's move on. The first main idea of this lesson is the changing weather, and we've talked about some dangerous weather conditions in the vocabulary. Remember, we talked about a blizzard. A blizzard, of course, is very bad snowstorm with strong winds. Now, we can have a snowstorm with no winds, and actually that's kind of magical, really. It's amazing it's very calm. There's no wind, and you just see very large snowflakes falling. And if the land is covered with snow and you see this kind of weather, it's very peaceful, and it's like magical. But if the wind is blowing very strongly, that's a little dangerous, right? And the snow's coming right at you, especially if you're driving a car. In a blizzard, it can be very dangerous because then the road gets slippery too, and it's very difficult to see the road ahead of you. So it's very dangerous. You shouldn't drive in a blizzard, obviously. And you should stay home in a blizzard also because it's very difficult to walk around as well. Next, we have a thunderstorm. And a thunderstorm, of course, as we said, is a storm with heavy rain, thunder, and lightning. Lightning is the flash of light, and thunder is a really big sound that comes after the flash of light. Next, we have tornado, and we talked about a tornado. A tornado is a spinning area of wind, and sometimes it gets so strong that it touches down to the ground. And when it touches onto the ground, it can cause a lot of damage. It can destroy things because it's spinning very fastly. Tornadoes move, actually, some tornadoes move quickly, but some tornadoes don't move quickly. They're kind of slow. But if they touch a building, or they can destroy the building, they can pick up cars, they can pick up animals, they can pick up people, and you do not want to be in a tornado. Okay. A hurricane is a really large storm that starts over warm ocean water. If the ocean water is warm and the conditions are right, a hurricane will form. Like I said before, hurricanes form over water, and then they move on to land and cause a lot of damage to homes and cities and towns that are on the land. Tornadoes form over land. They stay on land. They don't go over water. Okay, so those are different types of changing weather. These are different types of very severe weather conditions, dangerous weather conditions. Okay. Next, we can talk about clouds and weather. This is a little more calm. But you can look up into the sky and you can look at the clouds and you can tell what the weather is like just by looking at the clouds. In fact, if you get up in the morning, you look outside the window, you want to know what the weather's like, just look at the clouds. If you see these types of puffy white clouds, they look like big cotton balls floating in the sky. They're called cumulus. Cumulus clouds. They are dense. Dense means they're thick, right? They look like big cotton balls or maybe vanilla ice cream floating in the sky. And they are white clouds. You know that you have good weather. It's not raining. You know, the sun is shining between the clouds, and it's probably nice and cool. Cool, crisp weather, I hope. Okay, but that's good weather. Okay. Now, if you look up in the sky and you don't see the cumulus clouds, but you see like these very thin white layer of clouds way high up in the sky, really high. We call those stratus. Stratus, they are flat and they are layered. Layered means, you know, you have one layer here, another layer here. They're layered on top of each other. If you see that, you know that well, obviously it's cloudy, you see the clouds, but you also can tell that you're going to have dry weather, not much rain, and maybe little humidity in the air. Humidity is the amount of moisture in the air. Okay, so you have cloudy and dry weather if you see the stratus clouds. Now, other times you can see these different types of clouds. Now, you see it's a little bit hard to see the difference, but, you know, stratus are flat and layered clouds, but cirrus clouds are also very high, but instead of being flat and layered, they're kind of like little thin strips going through the very high blue sky. They're high, obviously, I said that. They're thin clouds, and they're wispy. What does wispy mean? Wispy means that wispy is kind of like the opposite of dense, right? It's like they're almost not there. They're very delicate, and you can see through them, right? They're wispy. And of course, if you see that, you know that you will have good weather. So, cirrus clouds, seriously good weather. Okay? Okay, serious, don't get confused, right? Serious means I'm not joking, right? But cirrus clouds are seriously good weather. Okay. The next one, oh my God, how do you pronounce that? Okay, this is a little difficult to pronounce, right? But remember, we just talked about this word, and you can see that this word is very similar. So we pronounce this word as cumulus, so we can start with the same way for cumulonimbus. Okay, but I'll slow down. Okay, cumulonimbus. Q, like cute. Oh, it's very cute, but these clouds aren't cute. Cumulonimbus. Can you say it quickly? Okay, but these clouds are not nice clouds. They're not like the other three where they have nice, good weather. If you see these clouds, they're heavy, they're gray. And why are they heavy and gray? Because they're filled with moisture. They're filled with water, and they just want to dump that water on your head. So if you see these clouds, you know that bad weather is coming. One more time, cumulonimbus. Okay, good. Yeah, at first glance, you're like, oh my gosh, how do I pronounce that? But it's okay, you can do it. Okay, let's move on to the story. Okay, as usual, I will read the story out loud. You guys repeat after me in your head or out loud. Focus on the pronunciation and also try to review, focus on the words that we went over in the vocabulary section. Are you guys ready? Let's begin. As the seasons change, the weather changes too. Summer is usually hot. After summer comes fall, and it is colder. After fall comes winter. Winter is the coldest season. In winter, blizzards can happen. Some animals hibernate over the winter. They wake up in spring when there is more food and it is warmer. Storms can change the weather quickly. A thunderstorm has many dark clouds and lightning. Lightning is like electricity, and it can kill and destroy things. Lightning makes a sound called thunder. That is why it is called a thunderstorm. Tornadoes can happen in thunderstorms. A tornado comes down from the clouds. The wind moves very quickly in a circle. If the tornado touches anything, it can destroy it. Hurricanes are the biggest storms. The wind is very, very fast, and there is a lot of rain. Floods can happen. Okay, that's the reading section. Okay, so how is the information in this reading passage organized? Well, here we have the very common organizational pattern, main idea, and details or examples that support that main idea. What is the main idea in this passage? The main idea is here. Changes in weather cause many things to happen. Well, many things is very general. It's not specific. What things? then we have to support that by giving specific examples. So we have 4 different specific examples of the many things that can happen. Well, first of all, we have winter. Now, winter really isn't a weather type, it's a season, but during that season, the weather does change. And winter is the coldest season, right? There's a lot of snow, the temperatures drop. So winter is the coldest season. What happens during winter? What kinds of storms did we see in the passage that occur or happen during winter? Well, of course, we saw the storm where a lot of snow falls and the wind blows very strongly. We call those storms blizzards. B-L-I-Z-Z-A-R-D-S. Blizzards because there are many blizzards. Blizzards can happen. And some animals say, blizzards, forget that, I'm going to sleep. So if some animals sleep for the whole winter, there's a special word for that. What do we call that? We call that hibernate. 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 And bears hibernate. I wish I could hibernate also during the winter. It's too cold and I don't want to drive in the snow, okay? So, but anyway, unfortunately, we still go to school and we still go to work during the winter. Don't hibernate. Your mom will be mad. Okay, so some animals hibernate over the winter. Okay, next. We have beep are storms with lots of lightning. When we talked about these types of storms, and I said, you know, when you see the lightning, wait because you hear a big sound after it. And of course, that sound is called thunder, and that's kind of the answer, right? Thunderstorms. Thunder. Thunder. It's a long word. Oh no, I'm running out of room. Thunderstorms. Thunderstorms are storms with lots of lightning and thunder. Lightning is like electricity. Well, it is electricity. In fact, there's a famous story about Ben Franklin. He was not just a famous American politician, he was also a scientist and a very smart person. And he flew a kite into a storm to capture some of that energy, to figure out what is electricity. And he was one of the early scientists to figure out electricity and to figure out how to use it. And thanks to him and many other scientists, we use electricity in our homes and we get light. Okay, anyway, we're talking about storms. Okay, the next one is beep can happen in thunderstorms. So what is beep? Well, many things can happen in thunderstorms. We need more information. So we have another clue here. Great. The wind moves very quickly in a circle. So the wind is moving very quickly in a circle, right? And they can happen or they can form during thunderstorms. What was it that we read about? We read about tornadoes. 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 And we put S. Actually, we put ES. But I just want to point out that tornadoes, the dictionary says that you can spell the plural of tornadoes 2 ways. You don't need an E. It's one of those words in English where some people spell it this way, other people spell it this way, and nobody can agree, so both ways are accepted, okay? So you can either put ES or just S. But again, you need to put S because we're talking about things in general. When you're talking about something in general and it is a count noun, make it plural. And of course, sometimes you put an S on it, sometimes you put an ES on it. But we have blizzards, thunderstorms, tornadoes. These are all count nouns. We're talking about them generally, so we make them plural. And one more example of that is over here. Now, beep are the biggest storms. Floods can happen. So we talked about that. I compared tornadoes with what? With hurricanes. Hurricanes. And here, it's already E, just put an S. Oh, and I'm sorry about that. I put a little line here. I meant to spell tornadoes. That's also okay. So both ways are okay, doesn't matter. Okay, but anyway, coming back to hurricanes, just S on the end. Hurricanes are the biggest storms, right? They're a lot larger and they form over warm water and they bring all that water to the land. They dump it on the land and what happens? We have floods. So coming back to the main idea, changes in weather cause many things to happen. Snow will fall down a lot. That's something that can happen during the winter. In a thunderstorm, lightning can hit the ground. Be careful, it's dangerous. Also, tornadoes can form from thunderstorms. That's another thing that can happen. And hurricanes cause floods and a lot of damage on land when they hit land. So, obviously, we have to be careful in severe or dangerous weather conditions. And of course, you probably see a lot of these on the news. Hopefully these things don't happen where you live, or if they do, the weather forecast will tell you if there is a severe storm event coming your way. Stay inside, stay with your family. If the news says you have to leave, move somewhere else, then do so. Right? Don't be in the path of a hurricane, okay, or a tornado. Okay, anyway, this is very interesting, obviously. There's a lot of different changes in the weather. Nature can be very beautiful. It can be very amazing, but we also have to respect it and understand that it can sometimes be dangerous. So anyway, that's an interesting lesson into talking about different types of weather. I hope you learned a lot, as always, and we hope to see you in the next video lesson. Anyway, that's it for today. Take care, everybody. See you later.